Welcome to the channel. Today is just a quick video about the 10 things that I noticed after having mostly completed this car that made the biggest difference to it. And I wanted to go over these things with you. This is stuff that can apply to any project, car or truck. It's not necessarily exclusive to this particular vehicle. And it'll make your project that much better with just a few attention to detail items such as what follows. At the end, I'll also give you a couple of misses that really didn't work out as well as I'd hoped. I'm going to run through these in an order that I've created that's basically from the least significant up to the what I think is the most important things that I've done to this car that have really changed it. So we're going to start here with the number 10 item, and that's this instrument panel that I took out and took apart and repainted everything. I used a chrome paint on the bezels and the trim, and then repainted the needles inside. And this really transformed the look of the car and the dash from gross and icky to presentable. It's certainly not restored, but it looks a heck of a lot better. And in concert with that, I also did these trim items. Took those out and cleaned them and repainted them as well. Again, just chrome paint and a little flat black right out of the spray can. But it solved a problem that would bother me every time I drove it. Number 9 is the manual heater valve shutoff. Now, some cars you might find actually came with these when they were made, but I added this to this car, and the reason you do this is otherwise the water for the heater core is constantly flowing through the heater core throughout the year, not just over the winter time. So with this valve, you can shut it off when things get warm outside, and you no longer have that hot water coursing through the heater core. Even though you might have the heater shut off inside the car, it's still going to be circulating. This will cut down on the circulation, and while yeah, the water's still going to, be warm because it's going to back up through that thing, it stops the circulation part of it. Now, the only downside to that is if you have a car that has some overheating problems, running the heater a lot of times will help bring the temperature down a bit, and you won't be able to do that if you have this turned off. But that's not been a problem on this car. The heating and cooling system works wonderful on here. I never had an overheating problem yet so far. So that would be the only downside I see to this. These valves are very inexpensive. You can pick them up in Napa for a few bucks, install it, and then you've got seasonal heating. Number 8 on my list would be the Bluetooth radio conversion. This car, like a lot of 60s cars, has a rather unique sized radio that kind of only fits this application. And so getting an aftermarket radio that you don't have to hack the dash up to make it fit is very difficult to do. Now there's other options. You can get a retro sound radio that'll fit in there, or you can put a radio in the glove box or under the seat or something like that. But for me, being able to gut the innards out of this dead radio and just installing a Bluetooth conversion really was the way to go. And it's just controlled by the volume knob. Turns on and off and controls the volume just like a regular radio would. But all the internal items that would run the radio, most of those have been removed, and I just installed a Bluetooth credit card sized conversion item in there and hooked it up to that knob, and it's really solved the radio problem very unobtrusively. It works fantastic. Number 7, the Toyota H4 headlights with LED bulbs. What a great upgrade this is, and it costs next to nothing. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, check out the video I have that's specifically about these, and you'll see that you can buy a pair of H4 headlights from Toyota as a kit for like under $30. It's insane. Now, I also replaced those with LED bulbs because the H4 bulbs would draw a lot of current, and you're going to have relays so that you don't smoke your original wiring. But these things are super nice, very bright, very white light, but they're not as ridiculous as a lot of the LED aftermarket stuff is. And they also look like headlights. They don't look like insect eyes, which I can't stand on these old cars. So if this is something that you think you'd like to do, this is definitely an upgrade that works. Very happy with this. All right, number 6 on my list is the new carpet. Now, why would I pick that? Well, because it's something that's surprisingly inexpensive and easy to do, and I see a lot of people putting it off and avoiding it for some reason. You know, a new carpet set for a car like this is only about $300, I think. It takes you really no time at all to install, you know, an afternoon, and it'll transform the inside of the car. Now, I'd like to maybe couple in the seat with that, but I think you can get by with a seat with a seat cover on it or a little duct tape, if need be, to survive in the meantime, because getting seats reupholstered is really expensive, especially if you have to have a custom, you know, made like this, if it's not just a cover kit you can buy. But best bang for the buck, honestly, was the carpeting. I think that was a tremendous improvement for not a lot of money and not a lot of time invested. Number 5, and I'm surprised I didn't rate it higher, but that's because I have a couple of oddball things that I think are maybe a little bit more significant, is the wheels. Every car will look better with the right selection of wheel on it. Now, what do you like? Do you like Kragers? Do you like torque thrusts? Do you like Baby Moons, Steelies? Whatever you like, anything is probably better than the stock appearance. This car came with, you know, trim rings and poverty caps on it when I got it, and that look was okay, but I still think that this alloy wheel conversion is much better looking. So proper wheel choice will really, really change the look of the car and really make it look different and stand out. I always try to pick a wheel that fits the style of the car, and so I stayed away from the usual 5-spoke torque thrust type wheel on this application. But very happy with this. I've tried to change wheels and tires on most of the cars I've had over the years, and I think these work very, very well. So consider a different wheel combination and maybe what you have. And also, don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't go with what everybody else is doing, because then your car will look just like everybody else's. Number 4, replacing the entire front suspension when you start working on your car. Just buy everything. Replace it all. Even if the old ball joints or tie rods or whatever is still good. Just replace everything. Do it all at once. Get the alignment done once. And basically you'll have a car that drives like a new car. Number 3 isn't really a part or a modification. It's just the wisdom of buying a non-rusty car to start with. The only things I had to do to this car were a couple of floor patches, replace a rusted seat brace, and rebuild the torque boxes. It had good frame rails, most of the floor pans were fine, trunk was okay, shock towers and front frame rails were fine, so really didn't have to do much other than a little bit of welding and patching in places that nobody's ever going to see unless the car's on a lift. That saved me a lot of time, money, and aggravation, and made this entire project so much more pleasant. Hold off for a better car. Don't buy a rusted out turd of a vehicle and think you're going to rebuild it. Leave that for the guys that just love to do body work and welding. Number 2 on the list is the front sway bar. This is a 1-inch bar made by ADCO. The car did not come with any sway bar, but even if it had, it would have been one that was probably about half the size of this. This single device has totally transformed how this car drives. It corners completely flat, not like a wallowing old 60s barge, and is probably one of the best investments I've made in this car. You should do it to your car if you don't have one yet. They also make them for trucks. Do you need one on the rear? Probably not. I would just get the front one, try that, and see how you like it. But this is a transformative part that only costs a couple $100. And my number 1 thing that I would recommend for everybody to do that's working on an old car project is new weather stripping. I put new door weather strips on, belt weather strips, trunk, cowl, anything that was rubber in this car on the body got replaced if it was available. It's made the car quieter, quelled most of the water leaks. We won't talk about the rusted out cowl. But it makes such a difference in how nice the car is inside when you're driving it, how tightly the doors and trunk close. money well spent. And the rubber weather strip for this car really wasn't expensive. I had to buy things from a couple of different sources, but ultimately it made for an excellent car to drive. Very tight feeling, got rid of the rattles, the air, wind noise, all that kind of thing. Best investment you can make, and I see so many people driving around in project cars that are mostly or all done, but they've never addressed this simple part of the repair, doing the rubber weather strips. Alright, one of the misses that I have on this car project is I just elected to put the single speaker back in the dash. And I bought a retro sound speaker, which is pretty good. I don't want to dismiss the speaker itself as being bad quality, but the single speaker in the dash it's barely loud enough to really hear. I think I'll probably wind up putting some 6x9s in the rear deck when I redo that part of the car again, but the single in-dash speaker, it's very limited as to what it can do. So it seemed like a good idea at the time. It does work, but when I put this dash cover back on, and it says that, it won't diminish your radio sound. Well, that's a lie. I have to have that dash cover off the car to be able to hear the radio clearly. So if you're thinking of just having that as your only source of radio, you might be disappointed. I kind of am. One of the sort of semi-misses is the different steering wheel. Now, I really like the design of the steering wheel and the appearance of it, but I don't like the fact that it's a rather chintzy, made-in-China steering wheel that's not really sturdy. If you drive this car, you can kind of feel the wheel flex a little bit when you really put pressure on it. It's not the best made product out there. I wanted this particular look for a steering wheel, and this is about the only way I could achieve it. If you're not so fussy about the appearance or looking for something different, maybe with a fake wood rim or a real wood rim, there's a lot more better options out there. So while I like the wheel in appearance and the way it feels when you drive, because it's a nice thick rim, leather wrapped, ultimately the steering wheel itself is not the greatest quality. Wish I'd been able to buy a real name brand one instead of an eBay China one. Okay, this one is kind of a hit and a miss. And it's the wipe-on clear coat. Now, I was really happy with this when I first did it and thought it was a great product, and it really transformed the look of this car from its really flat and dull paint to something that was presentable. Unfortunately, the first time I had this thing out in a rainstorm, and it was hot out, so this water wanted to dry pretty quickly. The clear coat wound up getting a lot of water spots in it. And subsequently, when I washed the car again, the water spots remained. I don't know that you'll be able to see them in this video, but trust me, there are water spots all over the top surfaces of this car. And so now I'm going to have to polish them out or clay bar them or something to try to get rid of them. And that's no guarantee that they're not going to come back the next time it rains in the car. It doesn't seem to do it when I just wash it. So apparently whatever's in the rain is what's doing it. But I would have expected this clear coat to be a little bit more durable and resistant to this water spotting. You might be able to see it in this shot. And also, when out applied, I wound up getting quite a few streaks on the top surfaces. It just didn't seem to lay as nice as it did on the sides of the car. Now, that could be something to do with unskilled application. You might be able to see the streaks here in the trunk lid, because the trunk lid's about the worst on the car. So, is it a good product? Yes. Would I do it again? Probably, but having used the Flood product, if you watch my other video on my Ford Lightning, you'll see how that turned out. I probably would have liked to have tried that maybe first. I think the clear coat's good if you've got a real patina car that's got, primer and rust showing through it. Maybe that would work better on that. I'm not sure about these solid colors, if that's really the best answer. Car still looks good from a few feet away, but if you get up close to it, you'll see all the water spots everywhere. And I'm not looking forward to trying to get rid of those. So there you have it, 10 things that I noticed after having done that car that I thought made the biggest difference on it. What did you think? These things apply to you? Do you have some that you would add or things that you'd subtract? And what about the misses at the very end? Let me know in the comments below. If you thought this video was helpful or might help somebody else, please give it a like. And as always, I thank you for watching. Take care, and see you real soon.